What's going on, everyone? I'm your host, Hassan Labduni, and welcome to TLE TV. What I wanted to talk about today, and I guess you can kind of say it's my Black history message. However, we're not talking about ancient history, past history. We're talking about modern history. We're talking about today. We're talking about how Black folks treat each other now and the effects of it. So what I really want to talk about today isn't really a message to Black folks, but it's also a message to everyone else who happens to use the same thought process as Black folks do in regards to this certain situation. And it's two-part. The first part is, don't fault Blacks for hanging with whites. That's the first part. And the second part is, not every Black is a nigga. So now let's go into the first part. Don't fault Blacks for hanging with whites. And this is primarily to Black folks. Black folks, you cannot fault Black folks that you see hanging with whites and not wanting to hang around with other Black folks. You cannot fault them for that. The reason why is because guess what? What do you have to offer to Black folks that is not negative, that is not derogatory, that is not degrading, demeaning, and belittling? What do you have to offer? What are you promoting on such a grand scale in relation to everything else that's being promoted about Black folks that's going to say, hey, well, guess what? It's not all bad because guess what? We have this, and this. Despite the music, the media programming, the news programming, we also have this, and this. And all these other alternatives are also being promoted heavily. For that reason alone, you cannot fault Blacks that want something better, that want something more than the status quo of that is being given to them, and that they can see is a dead end. They want something better. They want options. They want progressive. They want to grow. They want to be something, and they don't want to be hood stars. They don't want to be freaking Hollywood of the block or anything like that. They want more. They're not caught up in the fast life. Blowing money fast, live fast, die young. They're not into that. So you cannot fault them for not wanting to buy into that concept. But yet, as Black folks, you feel a certain way and feel like, oh, if you don't believe how we believe or how we feel, you're selling out the Black people. You're not of Black people. You should be faulted for how you are thinking. But at the same time, not acknowledging the fact that some of your own thinking is destructive as well. Or even more so. Because yes, it is destructive to want to be something different than who you are, in the sense of wanting to be white instead of Black when you were born Black, or wanting to be this ethnicity over another despite of what you were born. That is destructive. And you will always have a poor self-image of yourself and of people like you because of that, if you buy into that. But you have a destructive self-image that is being bought into by our people, Black folks, that a great majority of our young people buy into. And we decide to ignore that, but attack someone else that wants a different type of program. Where is the logic in that? I mean, honestly, where is the logic in that? They want something better. They want something more, while you just want to go ahead and maintain the status quo. And for anybody that wants more than the status quo, they're wrong. They're a sellout. They're a coon. They're a crab. They're this and that. Where is the logic in that? So I say to you, Black folks, you cannot fault them for wanting to hang with non-Blacks. You cannot fault them for wanting to hang with the winning crowd, so to speak. Everybody wants to be winners, right? Everybody wants to win at life. Life is meant to be lived, not suffered through. Nobody just wants to just survive. Everybody wants to live. But because they choose to want to live a different way than you decide that you choose, there's a problem with that. Now, honestly, we cannot fault Black folks for doing those things. I've had my fair share of non-black friends, and I've hung around in my fair share of non-black circles. Just for the mere fact that many times those within the black circle were involved in things that I did not want to partake in. I did not want to involve myself in. I did not see myself as. I mean, there's been some wavering, but that's just how it is. As when you're trying to define and find yourself amongst a myriad of messages that is telling you everything about who you're supposed to be, and none really telling you about who you really are. So we get lost trying to find ourselves in this course called life. But regardless of all that, if the person is trying to find something better for themselves, that is something that should be applauded. That is something that should be appreciated. That is something that should be promoted. That is something that should be heralded. Regardless of whether it lines up with your own beliefs or not. As long as it's something positive, that should be something that should be allowed. Can we agree on that? Because if you want to go to your clubs and you want to have your parties and you want to drink and you want to fuck, you want to do this, you want to do that, you don't want nobody, you don't want someone infringing upon your abilities to do those things, that person should be able to hang with whoever she want to hang with or he want to hang with. They should be able to excel at what they choose they want to excel at. They should be able to pursue maths and sciences as much as they choose to without being belittled, without being degraded, without being called out as a coon or a sellout, without any of these attacks that are made on people trying to do something that is considered non-black. And going to the second part, not every black is a nigga. Now, mind you, yes, white folks can take from that as well. But again, black folks, this is still on you. Because guess what? This is our month, so I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you. And we need to understand some things. Black and nigga is not synonymous. No matter how much you try to make it so. Black and nigga is not synonymous. Especially when you have Hispanic people calling each other nigga. You have white people calling each other nigga. You have white and Hispanics calling black people nigga. Black and nigga is not synonymous. It does not mean the same thing. And while a bunch of niggas may claim to be black, not a bunch of black folks will claim themselves as niggas. They will not. Black and nigga is not synonymous. And the most destructive thing, the most destructive mentality, mindset, thought process, stereotype, image, symbol, right now in our black community is the nigga. The nigga is killing the black community. The nigga is playing into the hands of white supremacy. The nigga is the end-all, be-all destructive force, the inner destructive force of the black community. Not every black is a nigga. And we need to understand that concept. We need to understand that imagery. Like I said in my last Black History Message video, black people, we have to redefine, we need to overhaul, we need to make over what it is we call black culture. Because black culture is being dragged down into just nigga culture. It is becoming all-encompassing of all that is black. All that is black. Black culture has become a black hole. And it's sucking all the light out of everything around it. That is it. So we need to overhaul it. We need to make it over. And we have to make people understand, black folks specifically, that black and nigga is not the same thing. Homeboy and nigga is not the same thing. We have to fix our concept, our perception of who we are. So let me wrap this up. You cannot fault blacks for hanging with non-blacks. Because as black culture goes right now, we don't have nothing positive to offer. Except for blowing money fast, living fast, dying young, and a whole bunch of other nonsense. While non-black culture offers more. We have become so tunnel focused. We have tunnel vision with what's being promoted as black culture. Tunnel vision. So when you ask non-blacks about black culture, they're thinking about rap that they want to call hip-hop. And because they're telling us it's hip-hop, we're forgetting what hip-hop really is, and we're just calling it all hip-hop, all rap. It's not the same thing. Just like a black man is not a nigga. A nigga can be black, but a black man may not always be a nigga. Remember that. A black man, a nigga may be a black man, but a black man may not always be a nigga. I'm your host, Hassan Live doing this, signing out, TLETV. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, facebook.com, Lyrical Elitist. Subscribe, like, share. You know what it is. Like, comment, do what you do. I'm out. Happy Black History.